Today's Toy Spot, we're having a look at the Takara Tomy Transformers Henkei Triple Changer Astrotrain. Spot was actually able to find his Astrotrain, and if you watch my review of the original Classics Astrotrain, I kind of felt like this one, if you were to get Astrotrain in the Classics form, this was a better figure to go with, because this was a prime example of the Takara releasing being a little more accurate. And I think as a whole, this toy still stacks up as one of my favorite Classics line, certainly one of the better triple changers out there, and just more in the classic Generation 1 colors. It is unfortunately covered in Japanese writing, Spot's unable to read some of that, but I can tell you that probably it shows, well, it shows the transformation down below, probably some indication that it transforms from train to jet to the Decepticon there as well. On the back of the package, showing you the several different modes. It comes with the side gun cannon, and all of which I'll touch base on when we get this opened up. But the other Henkei Transformers that you could get were Optimus Prime, Bumblebee, Grimlock, Mirage, Megatron, and Starscream. I'm not sure really what these go for now, but I know at the time that I was picking these up, I had to pick them up on eBay like many moons ago. They were pretty expensive. I think each one probably was about $40–50 maybe, with Prime and Megatron being the more expensive of the two, or of the six. It's also funny too that they released 4 Autobots and they put versus 2 Decepticons. And if you can't trust the only other guy that is on your team, that being Starscream, well, you're in trouble. That's all I have to say. Spot's going to take a break and get this opened up. When we come back, we're going to get a better look at the Henkei Astrotrain. There's more heading your way, guys. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. So out of packaging, Astrotrain comes in the same mode as the Classics Astrotrain came out of packaging, and that is in his Shuttle Mode. I think you can agree, though, the Shuttle Mode probably looks a little bit better in this Henkei version because he's got this really dark gray accented really nicely with the purple. And he still has the white in there, too, but the majority of the figure really has this more... I think it has more of a presence to it. He has, on his wings, there's the Decepticon logos. And I also like that he's got a nice red windshield on the front of his Shuttle Mode. Now with Henkei, at least back in the day, the Henkei releases, they always try to throw somewhere in their chrome. On the back of Astrotrain, he's got this really nice chrome thruster section here, and a metallic chrome, kind of purple chrome back area here. It doesn't seem to carry anywhere else for the rest of the shuttle, and I don't think it carries anywhere else on the train that I can remember, but it's nice that they included that. And at least of some of the Henkei releases, this chrome makes perfect sense. It's not just let's just throw that in there. Didn't really like what they did with the Bumblebee, where they threw in like a gold kind of chrome on Bumblebee. Here at least it works. He still comes with his blaster. In this case it's a gray. And you can peg it underneath for storage if you want, kind of just keep that out of the way. And it also pegs into place when you transform him into his train mode as well. Or what you can also do too is you can use the original one that came with the Classics Astrotrain, and you can use that as well. The purple's not quite right, but I think I almost prefer it a little bit more when you get him into robot mode. So moving that to the side. He has his landing gear on the underside of the jet of the shuttle here. This folds in, and you actually have to fold it in for the purpose of transformation. The back section just stays free. You don't actually need to move it at all, but it still free rolls, and you can roll it quite well in shuttle mode. Is it a perfect shuttle mode? No. And in fact, I would say the Generation 1 Astrotrain, his vehicle modes still trump, I think, probably this guy right here. The updated Astrotrain, this one right here, sure, of course, benefits from the additional articulation. It looks a little more updated, but you still got to give it nods to the original Generation 1 Astrotrain, just for, especially his locomotive mode. I love that mode, and maybe one of these days I'll try to pick up an original Generation 1 Astrotrain. I had one when I was younger, and I don't really know what I did with it. His top sail is a little loose, and that will come in time. This one actually, unlike the original Classics Astrotrain, I've taken this guy out a couple of times and transformed him, put him back in packaging. So, I mean, his top sail fin there is a little loose. But to get him to transform into his train mode, what you're going to do is go to the back section here, pop this section down, just kind of fold that down and get that out of the way, and that will allow you to take the whole train or the whole shuttle mode section, take that completely off and swing it forward. And with that landing gear down, you can swing that to the front and just kind of latch that. Well, not really even so much latch it, but peg that into place like so. Take the front wings here, and I'm going to fold those forward like so, and they'll just kind of sandwich around the sides of the jet mode here. And there actually should be right there. There should be like a little peg point here and a little notch that should peg into place. Getting it sometimes to line up is not always the easiest, especially when there you go, and you get something that looks like that. Take this whole section, spin it around, and just bring it to the front, and you pretty much have the back section of the train. Then take the top wings, which are still sadly a little loose, too loose for my liking, but to take those, and this would be when longer nails certainly helps out, because I have a tough time with shorter nails. Yeah, sometimes transforming things are not the easiest, but you gotta get your finger in there, and when in doubt, I was going to say if I had something to open this up with, but you're going to have to get your finger in there. Ah, there we go, and open this up. And actually, yeah, you can even see where some additional purple chrome has been put in there. That's I really like that. Take these sections, fold them out, and you're just going to take this and, oops, without separating his hand, take this, spin it around, take this, spin it around, peg those into place. And if everything agrees with you, you've got yourself the train mode, which for all intents and purposes, yes, still doesn't look like a train. However, with the fact that the majority of the piece is still purple, I think it blends together a little bit better as a train mode than the original Classics Astrotrain did. You can take his gun, and you can just peg the gun into the top there. Would you ever see a train necessarily with a big cannon on the top? Not necessarily, but oh well, it is certainly what it is. As it goes for trains, doesn't quite look like a train. Again, it looks good to about here, as I mentioned with the original Classics Astrotrain. The back section, though, really looks kibbly. Unless you want to somehow kind of tell yourself, okay, well, maybe it's a military train, and therefore it looks a little less like a train, I guess, from this section onward. The shuttle, though, is the stronger mode of the two vehicles. Form him into Astrotrain. You're gonna just flip him up, and these sails, these front fins will tell you that. I mean, that's basically where his chest section will be. Take his train mode and separate this section out. You're gonna spin it around so you get the gray sections right there. And take the fists, bring them down, and then these sides fold out. I'm not keen personally on how these sides fold out, but at least some good news is the shoulders on Astrotrain are a lot stiffer, and they're not as floppy around as the original Classics Astrotrain was, but you get something that looks like that. Next, go down to the bottom section, unhinge the wings, unhinge this section here, take this, fold it up to the top, and peg that into place. Take the top shuttle areas, the thruster areas, and those will sit in these sockets. Fold that down, peg that into place. Oh, and actually what you should do first, it helps if you actually give them a head. Take this section, fold that down, reach inside, bring up the head, fold that back in, and peg that back into place. And then you've got Astrotrain, at least the top torso of Astrotrain completed. The last thing you'll do is kind of hold on to the sides, pull this out to expose his legs, separate these, bring this out, bring these out. These will come into the front to be his legs. These just kind of swing around to the sides and fold up against the legs. And bada bing, bada boom, you've got yourself Astrotrain. And I gotta admit, this Astrotrain is a lot nicer than the original classics. For your comparison, there's the original Henkei Astrotrain, and there's the classics Astrotrain. Now you can see, really looking at them right away, which one looks more Generation 1. Yeah, this guy right here. The gray, the dark gray, the purple, and the yellow accents of the red really bring this guy out and really make him look like an updated version of Astrotrain. This one was good, but I didn't like the white. I didn't like the white, and it didn't look enough Astrotrain-like for me that if you had, again, the choice, go with this guy right here. And definitely by using the new colors or updating it with the more Generation 1 colors, his head looks a lot more like Astrotrain versus the original classics Astrotrain. I love this gray. I don't know what it is. I'm a sucker for dark gray, but the dark gray on this Astrotrain work perfectly. You can still take his blaster, which again is dark gray. You can peg into place, or what again, like I like to do, is use the purple blaster from the original classics version of Astrotrain and peg that into place. It kind of just gives him a little more extra purple. I find with his arms already being gray, that if you start giving him a gray blaster too, it's just a little too much. A little too much for my liking. But he's a perfect looking version of Astrotrain, just as an update to the original Generation 1 toy. For your articulation, Astrotrain's head is on a ball joint. Not really a lot of movement. You move it up and down this way, but that's really just due to his transformation. His shoulders can move quite a bit, but yeah, as you saw with the classics version, this section gets a little loose, so you always have to kind of push the shoulders down to kind of keep them stiff. He has a ball joint in his arms. Nothing really in the wrists, because the wrists are kind of just pegged into the side of his train mode. And then he's got quite a bit of movement in his legs. A double bend at the knee, which I had a tough time finding initially on the classics version of him. And to some extent he's got articulation in the foot, but again, all that's due to his transformation. Classics Astrotrain, or should I really say Henkei version of Classics Astrotrain, is a far superior version, I think, again, to the white that we had saw before. He just looks a little more like he did from the original Classics cartoon. His modes, his vehicle modes, yes, are weaker modes. The Shuttle Mode, I think, at least of the two, is a better mode than what with the train, that kind of bullet train that they use. A bad choice for a train, really. But I guess they just wanted to give him some sort of updated take, that instead of giving him an older locomotive mode, let's give him something a little more updated. At the time that you're seeing this video, or at least at the time that Spot's shooting this video, we have not gotten an Astrotrain. We've gotten a Springer, and we've gotten a Sandstorm, Blitzwing, but we haven't gotten any more love for an Astrotrain. So I'm hoping that at some point we're going to either get a Masterpiece version of Astrotrain, or probably like a Classics version, or like an updated Generations version of Astrotrain. Maybe something a little larger, something that we got similar to the Springers, much bigger in pieces. But I think Astrotrain really deserves another re-release or reapproach to a new toy. Astrotrain has always been one of my favorite triple changers, and if we don't ever get it, I'm more than happy to be putting this guy on my shelf as my definitive Astrotrain. Yeah, he's got pretty crappy vehicle modes, but his robot mode, especially in these colors, more than makes up for it. And likely, this is how I'm going to be displaying him anyways. Today's Toy Spot, we're having a look at the Hasbro, or in this case, Takara Tomy, Henkei Astrotrain. Stay tuned, guys. Spot's going to have more Toy Spots and more Transformer videos heading your way. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.